What is up, guys? So as you know, we have the new 2020 RR, and I gotta put all of those parts onto this vehicle before President's Day weekend. It's about 2 weeks away. Today is February 1st, so instead of filming each individual part going on as I did on the 2019, you already know what that looks like. We have plenty of videos for that stuff. We're just gonna get at it. So I'll time lapse all this stuff and stop for any of the cool stuff. Let's get it. What's up, guys? What are we looking at? Dude. What is up, guys? So as you know, we have the new 2020 RR, and I gotta put all of those parts onto this vehicle before President's Day weekend. It's about 2 weeks away. Today is February 1st, so instead of filming each individual part going on as I did on the 2019, you already know what that looks like. We have plenty of videos for that stuff. We're just gonna get at it. So I'll time lapse all this stuff and stop for any of the cool stuff. Let's get it. Okay, so quick update. She's starting to look like herself again. Where is it? We installed the windshield. We installed the intrusion bar, which was pretty difficult because it was on my other vehicle when it crashed, and it did end up tweaking it a little bit. We haven't done anything to the front end yet. I plan on doing the gusset kit, and we'll see what we're gonna do with the arms because we definitely don't want to bend those again. But we installed mirrors, we installed lower doors. We moved the reservoirs because last time when we rolled, those got damaged, and so I decided to, I might move them. They look pretty cool up there, but they're functional, right? So they're out of the way, and I know if something happens, they're not going to get damaged. But the big thing is we installed the ZRP radius rods with the ZRP pull plate and shock therapies toe link support kit. We were able to pull all that off in a few hours. So we're definitely hitting it hard. Still waiting for a wheel and tire. And next up is all my Evo stuff. So I gotta pull spark plugs, I gotta gap those, and put injectors, injector clips. I got a catch can that I'm installing, and the shocker exhaust, and some other goodies. So we're gonna go get something to eat and get back at it soon. Okay, so we made a little more progress. I ended up putting the iPad holder. And I'll show you what app I use. I have an application, it's called Trail Boss. And even if you don't have GPS working at the time, it saves where you were and you can still get around. But right now, I'm gonna end up refinishing this shocker, the Evo shocker exhaust, just so it looks new, because it is a new vehicle and I want the stuff on it to look new. So I'm gonna do that right now and then keep going, see how far we can get. I do have, Assault Industries front end gusset kit that I have to install, but there's some other parts that I want to install at the same time. I want to do something with the A-arms so we don't end up bending A-arm again like those over there. So I might wait on that. I have 2 weeks until President's Day. So I'm gonna get as far as I can without touching that, and then last resort, if we have to, I'll just install without doing anything. But we'll see how the money is, and we'll see how the time is. Let's get it. All right, so to remove the stock exhaust, you got to remove this rear cover. It's 5 T30 bolts. There's top 3 and then 2 on the bottom. For the springs is probably the hardest part, the most difficult. And so what I use is a set of needle nose pliers that are intended for removing like spark plug boots, and literally just grab the spring like that and you just pull it, and it comes right off, no problem. Completely safe with these. So that's definitely my tool of choice for removing that. Next, you're gonna need a 7/8 wrench to remove the oxygen sensor, which is back there somewhere. Yeah, it's right there. Do that, and then there is a T-bolt clamp or a Marmon ring clamp, V-band clamp, whatever you want to call it, back here for the downpipe. And you're just gonna remove this guy right here, which is an 11mm, and you might need a screwdriver to pry the clamp off, and that'll get your downpipe off, and then you could swap on your downpipe of choice. Obviously mine is the shocker with the stock muffler, just because it's optimal, because if I want to be quiet, if I'm going through somebody's camp or something, or I have the kids in the car and I want to keep it quiet, it's real nice. And then if you want to get wild, you get to flip on that shocker and let her eat. So yeah, let's keep it going. Okay, so it's a good thing I confirmed this. So I was able to, pull the plug and checking it. I mean, putting a 25 feeler gauge, it's larger than 25. I think it's right at 28. So it's gapped at 28 thou. We want to get it down to 20. So using a 20 feeler gauge, we want that to just barely drag to where just the spark plug by itself, it could almost hold its own weight. Okay, so we'll do that now. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I made that gap smaller. And so what I'm talking about is it just has to, you put a 20 thou feeler gauge and it just catches. Even that's a little tight, but it should just catch. And then reinstall, and you're gonna do that to all 3. Okay, now that we've dropped the intercooler in, you want to, put it here to your throttle body and give the clamp enough space to be able to slip on. That one's a little tricky. And for the 2020, the clamping system that they have was definitely the most difficult part of this job, to be honest, is getting that thing, because the actual charge tube is thicker diameter than the OEM one. So it was really hard to get this to clamp on around this. And then, you're going to disconnect this fitting. It just has a plug here on the intake manifold, and you're going to remove that, remove the stock O-ring from the plug that's in your stock intake and put it on the Evo fitting, and then line up everything, and now you got some nice charge pipes. and Evo blow-off valve. That thing looks sexy. So now I'm gonna put the downpipe, the shocker exhaust on, and button her all up. And I think we're gonna be done for today. Next up is gonna be, like I said, I'm gonna do some front end work, but we're gonna wait for that. So right now we're gonna have charge pipe, blow-off valve, charge tubes, and yeah, some go fast parts. And we got the spark plugs. So let's button her back up. So what I'm gonna work on right now is ended up making some whip tabs with the help of my little brother. Actually, he's a machinist, so we were able to get on the water jet, spec those out, and punch them out. So I have these, and these are straight 90s. I'm gonna try those, and I also have these, which are 45s. So we could actually put the whips in a X orientation if we want to, and see how that looks. I mean, we have some options. And another cool thing I got for the map tuner, they actually have this mount, and it's for the dyno jet. It's not even for the map tuner, but I was able to verify, and the map tuner on the back of it, I used this on my 2019 as well. The 4 holes on the back of the map tuner line up perfectly to this, which is really intended for this pocket for the dyno jet, for the Power Vision, but the bolt holes are exactly the same as the map tuner. So that's what I used on my last one, and it worked perfectly. So it's a great way to mount it to any X3. So check that out. It's made by Desert Freaks, and yeah, it's about 45 bucks. So I'm gonna install this stuff right now and see how it looks. First, I'm gonna start off with the whips, and then I'll do this guy, because I do gotta download some tunes and get this. Oh yeah, I'm still missing a wheel and tire, and get this stage 5 E85X. So it's gonna be 255 horsepower. And I've already done the break-in, so I'll go over the break-in procedure as well. I am a master tech, automotive master tech, and so the way I always broke in engines was doing like an idle test. You know, it is good to put load on them. Let me get out of the sunlight. But yeah, so what I do is I idle it for about 15 minutes. I do that 3 times. And while it's idling, I'll vary RPM, just so it's not set to 1 RPM. And what you're really intending to do is to expand to its max thermal expansion, and then have it contract again. And you want to do that about 3 times. So it's about 15 minutes is the rule of thumb. But what you really want is the thermostat to open. So as soon as you hear the fan, the coolant fan for the radiator turn on, that's usually a sign that it's up to temp. And you can see it on these 2020s. They have a temperature gauge now that actually shows you the degrees. So as soon as it hits its max temp, while varying RPMs, shut it off, let it cool down, and then start it back up and do that again. And you want to do that 3 times. So let's get to it. So before I install these whips, I want to give a huge shout out to 5150 Whips. They heard what happened to my crash and that the last whips didn't survive it, and they wanted to hook me up with some whips that would survive the crash. So I'm super happy. These things are way bright, and they have this really cool magnetic mounting system for it, so you don't have to deal with any pins or anything silly. It just literally locks in, and there's a bolt inside, an anti-rotation bolt, so it actually stops it from twisting and turning. So I'm really excited to have these. I always seen these out there, and yeah, I can't wait to have them on my car, especially, you know, we're starting the 2020 off right, so might as well have some really good whips on it. So let's install these brackets and see how they look. They're on. That's it for the whips. So the mounts came out really clean, really good. I'll show you. So they bolt on just like that from the bottom. This is obviously a magnetic cup, and this thing pulled from the right angle, pops right out. You got a ton of adjustability. So if I want to tilt them back, I could. If I want to have them straight up, I could, but sunlight. But yeah, that's them. They came out really good. So now I'm gonna I'm gonna put the map tuner bracket on and show you guys how well that thing fits. Okay, so I've decided to install these little light pods, and I thought a really clean way to mount them would be to use the existing intrusion bar. At first I thought I could drill and tap this, but actually the top of this gave it a very good mounting point, so I still gotta deburr that, but yeah, I just lined it up where it'd be best, and just drilled and tapped this, and that's gonna be where these light pods mount to. So yeah, let's get it. Excited?
Yeah.
Let's get it. Two things going in preparation for Glamis President's Day on this new 2020. You know, first thing, I am doing launch control, so I gotta change the spring in the primary. I'm not doing anything with the clutch weights yet, but I am gonna throw on a World's Best belt. And along with that, you know, I gotta do the quick release pin kit again on that new housing. And a big thing, so if you're going stage 5 E85X on a 2020, the biggest limiting factor is the OEM fuel pump. So I did have to remove the fuel pump. As you can see here, it's a fairly simple process. You remove some plastic paneling, which is over there. It's really, you have 3 screws here, a few pull pins, and then 1 screw in here, and this whole piece comes off. I was doing additional work, so I do have additional plastic paneling removed, as I had to do light bar and some light pods, which that's what these are for, and it's over here somewhere. Man, it's a big mess, you know, especially crashing one car and then swapping all the parts over, and I had to do that in a hurry because insurance was coming and blah blah blah. So here we are. So to remove this, you literally use a flathead screwdriver and a mallet, and righty tighty lefty loosey. So I hit it counterclockwise on the edge of this plastic here. Be very careful and just get it going, and then it'll screw off, and you'll be able to remove the fuel pump. And I have it over here. I did have to drain it a little bit, so I have the whole module here. This is a complete fuel pump module, and you know, I've always wondered, you know, I knew it was a style. I'd never taken one out, but I knew it was a style with a float, just like a standard vehicle. It's kind of crazy because, you know, going over the dunes and stuff, it's really hard to make this accurate when this is all sloshing around. But something to take note of is the pickup for the fuel pump is, you know, I would say by sheer size, you probably have a couple gallons of additional fuel even after it says empty, which is really interesting. Anyhow, I'm going to throw in an Evo fuel pump. They give you a nice adapter harness here, and you know, it is a grams fuel pump. It's a 265 liters per hour fuel pump, so a lot more fuel with this bad boy, and so that'll no longer be your limiting factor on fuel delivery on this guy. We are going to be maxing out the stock turbo once again, but this fuel pump will carry you to the next level, to the next stage. So definitely a valuable upgrade for me. And anybody that wants to get the most out of their 2020 stock turbo, this is what you need here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that all going. Real simple. Use a flathead screwdriver, and you're just gonna pry right here, and these you know, pins right here that's holding the clips. This whole basket will come down. Okay, so I removed the OEM pump, and as you can see here, I mean, it's it's almost damn near identical to this one, except this one's black. The only thing you're gonna keep from this OEM pump is this grommet here, okay? And you're gonna open your new Evo fuel pump, just like that. And, you know, just make sure, it is a manufactured part, so just make sure it's all clean. And this one is, I don't see anything weird about it. It'd be nice to bench test it, but not necessary. Definitely trust their quality control. Just make sure it's all lining up. It looks, I mean, damn near identical. The bottom of it as well. And we look good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this grommet back on this guy, and, you know, just maybe get a little fuel and place her back down inside, and you'll hear a nice click from it here. There is a alignment pin which you gotta align it with down there. so it'll go in. And if I can get it. And we're in. Okay, so it's that simple, and then just put it back on. Be careful, you do have to route this stuff back, but that's pretty much it. Okay, so once you've got the fuel pump inside here, and like I said, it is under spring pressure, go ahead and get that started. And this arrow should be pointing towards the passenger side. There's an arrow right here on the fuel pump module itself. And the way you can check that is the way this thing lines up. This is the fuel feed line, and I haven't had to move it. It lines up perfectly, so we're good to go there. So what we're gonna do now is Evo supplied this harness with a relay. We'll go ahead and plug that in now. Okay, just like so. And then we're gonna plug it in to the harness itself, and we're good to go there. And so this does have a grounding strap right here for it, and we're gonna ground that to the chassis where the fuel pump protector plate sat. We're just gonna use that one there to ground this out, and we're good to go. Okay, so once you've buttoned it all up, what I did here is I zip tied the relay because it does have an additional relay now. I zip tied this to the frame so it's not bouncing around, and it's still pretty accessible. I just got to remove this panel to get to it. I might check that out further later, but for right now, this is what I'm going to do. And for that strap I was telling you about, that ground, you got to ground it right here to this guy, and it's good to go. And then after that, you just put the key in the ignition. And so this clicks and it's priming as designed, so that's good to go there. So at this point, you just put the fuel of your desire. What I'm gonna go with is all that E85 that we have from our last one, and it's still good. I have a sample of it to show you what you're doing when you're testing E85. If I can find that thing without looking like a jerk. But yeah, so it's right here. And so what you do is you add water to where it says the water line, and the rest you add fuel, and then it'll separate and tell you how much ethanol content you have. And so for this one right here, that's E85. We're about E90 on this fuel still. And I still got to put these injectors in, but I'm waiting for an adapter harness because the 2020 injector clips are a different style than previous years. So I'm using the injectors from 2019, and I'm waiting for some injector clips from Evo, which I should have tomorrow, and we'll install those and then fire up on stage 5 for the first time, and go out and rip. What do you think? With the wife here, see? Look. A1 since day one. All right, so yeah, so I'm gonna button that up. Nothing much to that, but I definitely gotta wait for those injector clips and fire up on E85 for the first time. So super excited for that. So let's get it. Okay, now that the fuel pump is in, next up for going stage 5 is fuel injectors. So I gotta get those in that, and also I'm doing the clutch because I'm adding the two-step on this, the two-step launch control. So, and I actually have a pre-lined clutch housing up there for my 2019. So I'm gonna end up swapping this out. I'm gonna pull the clutches, pull that all out, and you know, install the injectors, and then do the clutch spring. And I think that'll pretty much wrap up our stage 5 because we've already done all the other good stuff. Let's get on it. Okay, so first things first, removing the fuel injectors, your stock ones. You gotta remove this fitting right here from your stock fuel rail, and it's just squeezing this, which is kind of I'm not too happy with the way that's set up, but it is what it is. So it's the same on all models, but like I said, I'm not a huge fan of that. And then back there is a T30. That's a lot of fuel. Okay, there's a T30 back there. That there's two of them that hold that rail on to your intake manifold. I already started removing one, if you can see it right there. And then there's another one over there. And so remove those and pull your whole rail off. You know, obviously you gotta undo your injector clips, but they are push type, so you'll figure that out and take it over to the bench and start swapping injectors. Okay, so once you remove the fuel rail, it's really simple from here. You're gonna remove these metal clips here and pull the fuel injector out individually. You know, take note that the injectors are a different style clip, how I mentioned on the 2020 review video, and you are gonna need an adapter harness to get these to work. So we'll do that now. Okay, so once you've installed the fuel injectors onto your fuel rail, it's time to reinstall it. So obviously, since we're going stage 5, we're going to be installing two-step on this vehicle as well. So, you know, you could reference one of my older videos. I show how to install all this stuff, but I'm just going to go over this again. This is the OEM spring, and this is the Evo two-step spring. You can definitely see it's a size difference and a stiffness difference as well. So, I mean, this is brand new. This has 0 miles on it, so I did mark it all up. So it does have alignment marks and all that stuff, so we're putting it back exactly how it was. But that's it. You do need this toolkit. Evo sells that as well, and we're gonna button this all back up and put it back on the car and fire her up. She should be good to go. Hit some two-step. Okay, so man, it's 9:30 and I'm definitely beat for the night. So what we've done today is we've installed an Alba clutch liner in the clutch housing, Evo two-step spring in the primary, and world's best belt, and we've done the quick release pin for the clutch cover. So, oh, and we did the injectors. So yesterday we did fuel pump, and today we did injectors. And we set crack pressure. So crack pressure on this guy, the 2019 was set to 11 PSI. This one's set to 12 PSI and no wastegate upgrade. So 2019 does require a different wastegate, which is over there somewhere. Oh man, I got it for first try. It's right there. And so for on this one, 2019 stage 5 is about 235, 240 horsepower. Stage 5 X on the 2020 is 255 horsepower. So definitely requires a fuel pump, which is a limiting factor on this thing, and no wastegate upgrade, fuel injector upgrade, and that's pretty much it for stage 5. You do need an exhaust, it's recommended, and a V-flow intake on 2019. On 2020 it's not needed because it's already like a V-flow. So we're there. 2 steps there, clutch cover, clutch liner, injectors, fuel pump. We got charge pipes, blow-off valve, all that good stuff. So we're ready to rock and roll. I think that's it. I'm still missing a wheel and tire, but it'll be here tomorrow. And some other goodies that I don't know if I want to reveal yet. So I think that's going to be it for this one, guys. Glamis prep, President's Day. You know, I think overall what this thing took to put back to the same condition as my 2019 Stage 5, it took about 4 days of after work. So I get off at 3 o'clock and I work till, you know, I work a few hours a day on it. So that's pretty much it. It doesn't take much, just definitely takes some dedication and to get into it. So anyway, I'll see you guys out at President's Day. Keep a shiny sight up. Peace.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.